If your workout includes shaving your face and brushing your teeth in the gym locker room, I've got the perfect car for you.
Oh, the Skylark's not a wagon, not a regal, not for shagging, but life's for living and for macking, not for dwelling on the feelings that you're lacking.
Say hello to the General Motors N-Body and the 6th and last generation of the Buick Skylark name. It says Buick, but this is really a Chevy Beretta or Chevy Corsica with a stabby nose. Ooh, it's got an airbag and one airbag sensor. 1995 Buick Skylark, brought to you by Let's Just Go See Something starring Tom Hanks. The last generation of the Skylark began in 1992 and lasted until 1998. The commercials for this car back in 1992 simultaneously insulted and groveled to potential buyers. The district attorney's sounding narrator said things like, "We know you wouldn't be caught dead in an American car. We know you think that an American car can never be as good as an import." And then, in other commercials, they switched their tune to desperately pleading, "Stop! Before you buy that Honda Accord, consider Buick! Consider Buick. Remember us? Our name meant quality. We give you more value per cubic foot than Honda. Why have a little Ferrero Rocher when you can have a Three Musketeers bar and feel like Haystacks Calhoun?" General Motors had a foot to stand on in their "don't get a Honda" sales argument in the form of the LD2 Quad 4 engine. The LD2 was General Motors' first dual overhead cam created domestically. Technically, the double cam Cosworth Vega engine was the first, but that cylinder head was designed in England. GM was so proud of the LD2 they called it the Quad 4 because it has 4 valves and 4 cylinders. Aren't we fantastic? I didn't even masturbate yesterday. In a very forward-thinking move, GM gave the LD2 a timing chain instead of a timing belt. And if it weren't for the lazy torque converter, this aluminum-headed engine would be a happy little buzzer. With 2.3 liters, the LD2 made 155 horsepower at 5,200 RPM and 185 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. Yeah, I know the wiki says 115 horsepower and 155 pound-feet of torque, but the wiki article on the LD2 is combined with a single-cam variant. And somebody was vandalizing it on Tuesday, May 27, 2019 when we wrote this narrative. So we're going with the Edmunds numbers. The 3-speed torque-converted transmission is minivan boring. It doesn't want to kick down unless you mash it. And then when you do, the valve body strains and lurches like a hairy man trying to piss out a stuck urethral sound. Oh no, why did I... Hey, I have double cams and 4 valves. Whee! Oh, I'm in 3rd gear again. Well, back in it goes. I haven't learned my lesson. The Buick marketing wank said, "The steering column is strategically positioned to allow for entry and egress." Bullshit. In your quest to undersell Honda, GM, you were too cheap to put in a proper joint on your steering shaft, so now the column and wheel is crooked. Great. Dynaride. Remember the 1950s? General Motors remembers the 1950s. And the Korean War. Electronic tuning. Electronic mail. Remember, this is 1995, and Dennis Leary was getting laughs by saying the words www.blowme.com. Here's something cool. A stock water temperature gauge that tells you the real temperature. Most budget-built cars just have hot and cold coolant temperature markings because normies get scared when they think, "The needle is pointing to 200 degrees. The thing is, this Skylark Coupe drives all right. The ride is soft and the seats feel like a welcoming dorm room couch when you're 2 tokes deep into the evening and you just remember that Mikey J ordered a pie from Mama Roma's, and here it is. Ah, dude, I love Mama Roma's. She rules. The brakes are as good as any Accord or Camry. They better be, because the single sensor airbag is the bare minimum piece of flair needed to stay legal in 1995. Paul uses this Survivor Skylark as a commuter, and as long as you have your wits and don't mind terrestrial radio, it's fine. Now, the whole reason you have a column shifter is that you have a bent seat in the front. But because the Skylark Coupe is supposed to be sporty, you don't get a full bench seat. You get these cup holders with wings that fold into the center console, cup holders inside the glove box, cup holders upon cup holders, giving the cold, empty vacuum of life the meaning it deserves because it's 1995 and supersizing is a thing. You want a Sprite? Well, guess what? You're getting all of it, old man. On the subject of thirst, gas mileage is around 17 city and 26 highway, which is terrible for a 4-cylinder car, but that's what happens when you have no overdrive gear. This Skylark is currently sitting at just 19,393 miles. Apparently, this car has a fairly straightforward, uncomplicated history that ultimately meant it didn't get driven much. You see, this car was owned by military personnel and mostly remained in the garage or on the base until the owner died. The car was then given to charity and somehow ended up in the hands of Paul's car dealer that he knows. And you know, it's rare to come across something so achingly normcore. It's the automotive equivalent of a youth pastor in cargo shorts and New Balances sitting backwards in a chair to talk to you about divorce. Buick Skylark. What meds am I on? Well, 150 milligrams of none of your goddamn business. There's no cruise control, but hey, you get power windows, and the rear defroster acts as an antenna, and for maximum mid-90s cool, you get cassette and CD holder options, but no cassette or CD player, just a standard radio, because again, it's 1995, and DJ Double Lunch has the new Hootie and the Blowfish at 5 past top of the hour. Buick Skylark. For the man who tries passing off the things they carried as his life story. No one's ever called him on it yet because it's easier to let him have his delusions than to get into an argument that ruins the Memorial Day cookout. To add to the Skylark's list of manifest excellent, it turns out that if the car didn't start right away and you tried the 70s method of pumping gas and turning the ignition, you could start a fire in the steering column. This led to a recall, which, is anybody surprised? It's a Buick Skylark. This is the My Cousin Vinny car. It's from a long line of automotive icons that gets diluted with each generation, to where they aren't the same car your grandpa was bragging about in 1972. And that's okay. Nothing is evergreen. For crying out loud, look at this pointy nose, and the weird black trim where the roof meets the back window. Buick wanted you to look at this with the same loving gaze of an import. It's like buying a new shirt and getting a fresh haircut to impress someone who's never going to be into you. The 6th Gen Buick Skylark is the carbonless copy paper of cars. It's the automotive version of a movie taped off of network TV. Yeah, Pulp Fiction is amazing, but everybody already saw it when it was in theaters a few months ago. And on TNT, it can't be anything but neutered, even if the VHS is pristine, commercials and all. So the 6th generation Buick Skylark ended up being a cautionary tale. Because confidence in your identity is more attractive than trying to change for every new Johnny-come-quickly. When the Skylark was ignoring the import market and just doing its own thing, it approached the level of an American icon. And in some respects, it still achieved that lofty goal. And by the end of its run, it almost felt as though the Skylark was embarrassed of what it was, happier to jump on trends than embrace its legacy as an American classic whose style evolved with the times.
But if I could go back then I would still disappoint your friends, and I would, that's right. If I could still make you smile, then I would, like 95 again. If I could, then I might. Because every single piece of me that gets shipped across the air and sea has baggage with no handling fee, and that's you. But I need the bad to find all the good. So if I could go back then I would tonight.